Next, very basic Bible, 8-minute quick read through the book of Matthew. We're on Matthew chapter 22. Okay, guys, 22 verse 11. And start. But when the king came in to see the guests that the king had invited, they paid no attention. They seized the servants and mistreated them, killed them. The king was enraged, sent his army and destroyed the guests he had invited. Go in the street corners and invite to the banquet anyone you find, the bad as well as the good. Remember all this. Okay. So the wedding guest was filled with guests. The wedding hall was filled with guests. Sweet. But when the king came in to see the guests, he noticed a man who was not wearing wedding clothes. He asked, "How did you get in here without wedding clothes, friend?" The man was speechless. Then the king told the attendants, "Tie him hand and foot and throw him outside into the darkness where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Many are invited, but few are chosen." So I guess back in Jesus' time, they had wedding guests and he had to wear a special garment. And the dude was invited, but then the man threw him out because he didn't have a garment. The garment must have been very easy to get. Maybe the king provided him with the garment, So, hey, if this is a parable about the kingdom of heaven, the people who reject it, they don't get to come in. The people who come in without being prepared, they don't get to stay in. So I guess, you better, like the parable of the seeds. It says some people, the seed that was thrown on the ground, people receive it with joy, but then the sun scorches them. Some of the seed grows up, but then the thorn chokes them out. Okay, make sure when you come in, you really want to come in. You don't want to be thrown out, All right. Then the Pharisees went out and laid plans to trap him in his words. They keep trying this. They sent their disciples to him along with the Herodians. Remember King Herod? Then King Herod had some sons. So people who are King Herod. Jesus is not the king. The Herodians, they think Herod is king. So Pharisees, disciples, and Herodians. "Teacher," they said, "we know that you are a man of integrity and that you teach the way of God in accordance with the truth. You aren't swayed by others. They're always trying to lie to him. Man, because you pay no attention to who they are. They're trying to flatter him. They don't really mean this. Tell us then, what is your opinion? Is it right to pay the imperial tax to Caesar or not?" Remember, earlier Jesus was asked about taxes, and he said, the sons of the kingdom are exempt. We have to pay the taxes, though. But let's pay the tax anyway. Okay. Jesus, knowing their evil intent, said, "You hypocrites, why are you trying to trap me?" Remember, we laid plans to trap him. That's why I said, of course they don't mean it. Okay. "Show me the coin used for paying the tax." They brought him a denarius. He asked them, "Whose image is this? And whose inscription?" Denarius. Remember that was, we ran across that earlier. So a denarius is used to pay the tax. Okay. Whose image is on this? Whose inscription? "Caesar's," they replied. We got George Washington on our quarters, Abraham Lincoln on our pennies. Okay, then he said to them, "So give back to Caesar what is Caesar's, and to God what is God's." When they heard this, they were amazed. So they left him and went away. Jesus, okay, is it right to pay the imperial tax? Jesus said, "Show me the coin used for paying the tax. Whose image is on this? Caesar's face is on it. Give back to Caesar what is Caesar's, and to God what is God's." Okay. I guess go pay the tax, but then do your due diligence to God and love him and serve him. Okay. When they heard this, they were amazed. Okay. The same day, the Sadducees, other religious leaders, who say there is no resurrection, came to him with a question. "Teacher," they said, "Moses told us that if a man dies without having children, his brother must marry the widow and raise up offspring for him. Now, there were 7 brothers among us. The first one married and died, and since he had no children, he left his wife to his brother." Remember, his brother must marry the widow and raise up offspring. "The same thing happened to the second brother and the third brother, right on down to the 7th. Finally, the woman died. So one was married to 7 people. Now then, at the resurrection, wait. The Sadducees who say there's no resurrection. Okay. Now then, at the resurrection, whose wife will she be of the 7, since all of them were married to her? Okay. Jesus replied, okay, this will be good. You are in error because you do not know the scriptures or the power of God. At the resurrection, so Jesus affirms the resurrection, it seems. At the resurrection, people will neither marry nor be given in marriage. They will be like the angels in heaven. But about the resurrection of the dead, have you not read what God said to you? I am the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. He is not the God of the dead, but of the living. So Jesus is saying they have been resurrected, and they will be, and they are. And I mean, he's not the God of the dead. He's the God of living people. He is the God of them. Okay, not supposed to be explaining much, so let's just go. When the crowds heard this, they were astonished at his teaching, as always. Hearing that Jesus had silenced the Sadducees, the Pharisees got together again. Man, one of them, an expert in the law, tested him with this question. Here, sometimes you read like the NASB, one of them, a lawyer, ESV, and one of them, a lawyer. NIV, an expert in the law. New Living Translation, an expert in religious law. So lawyer is just a word for an expert in religious law. It's not a guy who goes to criminal trials. It's not a lawyer like today. Back then in the Bible, expert in religious law, lawyer. Okay, all right. One of them, an expert in religious law, tested him with this question. One of the Pharisees, teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law? Jesus replied, love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it, love your neighbor as yourself. Okay. All the law and the prophets hang on these 2 commandments. Okay, close quotation marks. Okay, that's a good answer. While the Pharisees were gathered together, Jesus asked them, wait. They didn't try to challenge Jesus. They asked him, what's the greatest commandments? He gave them, and then they left it alone, because now, while the Pharisees are gathered together, Jesus is asking them a question. Maybe they'll come back to it. I don't know. So Jesus asked the Pharisees, what do you think about the Messiah? Whose son is he? The son of David, they replied. He said to them, how is it then that David, speaking by the Spirit, calls the Messiah Lord? For he says, the Lord said to my Lord, sit at my right hand until I put your enemies under your feet. Okay, that's a psalm. You can tell it's all caps, so it's in the Old Testament. If then David calls him Lord, how can he be David's son? Oh. Okay, guys, gotta wait for the answer. Until next time. All right. Don't forget, if you got any questions about anything I read, go to the YouTube show notes, scroll down under the video, look at all the verse by verse teachings I put there. Go to those websites, find Matthew 22 and look it up and listen to what they teach. Okay. Talk to you guys next time.